Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be continuing to take a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. We are now on episode 75 of the series. And in the last episode, we saw some events happen, such as the Floridians invading into Mauritania, and a war breaking out over here. Lots has happened. And also a bit more colonization, a bit more expansion in on the moon. We're not going to focus on the moon right now. Normally that would be the first thing we would focus on right now, but you know what time it is. World War 6 has occurred. Is the beginning of this war of radicals. So how will this break? How would the war break out? I'm glad you asked. You know this non-aggression pact with from Ohio? Yeah, well, Florida just broke it. So, now Florida is going to invade into Ohio. And, you know why? You know what happened last time this happened? Shh. You know what happened last time when Florida invaded into Ohio? They got invaded. Oh, they don't even border the Unitarians right now. But
they come anyways.
Now, so Florida is just gonna go along the border for now. So for now, the Floridians are just gonna go along the border. But you know what happens? Whoa, jeez. Anyway, they're just gonna go along here. So with them breaking their pact, now they have an excuse to invade into Cascadia. And they can start to invade into other areas. That also means they can now invade into Ecuador. And Venezuela. At the same time. They can even invade. So now they are very that was a stupid decision. Now they're invading into Puerto Rico, taking some islands. They're very close to this area. And since this non-aggression pact has been signed, it's now gone. And now Mexico is going to decide to follow up with an invasion of Cascadia. They're just going to go along the border just like before. But there's also going to be another area, a front here. They're also going to invade straight down into. They're going to focus more on the coastal areas of Ecuador here. Now, what about what's happening over in Oceania? Uh-oh. That's not good. So, New Zealand just invaded into, the South Asian Union. And if you don't know already, the South Asian Union has support from the Unitarians and the Communist nations. So, troops are now entering into Unitarian troop and South Asian troops are entering right straight into New Zealander territory, and it's going to be very bad. For this is not going to go so well. And seeing as an excuse to take back some former territory, the beach Antarctic country will join the war on the side of, well, everyone that's fighting against the fascists. So we see troops from here enter into New Zealander territory that has been conquered. The former provinces now being taken back. Also, the South Asian troops are now entering into this island, taking some territory away. They're going to take this whole island here, start to invade throughout here, until this country decides to join in on the conflict, and will invade right here, taking it over relative ease. Communist nations will send some support. I'll send some support over they'll send support over this way, but also some support over here to help out. Tanzania, the closest country to the South Asian Union, will send some troops. Stop by here, help them reach, and stop right here. And now they're on the front lines with the South Asians. So there's some Tanzanian troops in here, which are going to help out in the war effort. And yeah, not very good. Because now the whole line here. Oh, but wait. Some South Asian troops are island hopping throughout their territory. And they are very close to where they are now. As they take over this island and now start to invade into mainland New Zealand, where this country originated. Well, not where they originated, but where their former occupiers were. I guess you could call it. I guess this one's Tasmania. I'll call it Tasmania now. Anyway, Tasmania is gonna be their territory in New Zealand is gonna be conquered, of course. Because of, well, yeah. And with some help from, oh crap. That always happens. Why does that keep happening? Stop that. What I was trying to say, with some help from some forces from other nations, or help who are in the war, the peach Antarctic country is going to be able to take back some major areas of Antarctica, almost driving Tasmania completely out of Antarctica. Now what's going on in Africa? Oh. Burkina Faso is now invading right into former areas of Mauritania that the people are no longer there because of something that happened, which I'm not going to talk about. And now it seems like Morocco is getting involved too. Morocco has just got involved in the war and is now invading straight into their territory here. Now let's head back over here. Oh. The Venezuelans are pushing back against Florida. Against the Floridians. And now they're kicking them out of their territory. While also helping out to liberate some parts of Ecuador, in which they'll do so successfully, pushing them out of Ecuador completely. Ecuadorian troops from the capital will now push back against the Mexicans here. And now somehow South Asian troops push out the Tasmanians from the territory. And now we see that Cascadia pushing out Mexico a little bit from some areas. Some forces will hold out over here, but that'll be gone. Those will be gone pretty soon. While and they'll be completely kicked out of Cascadia, other than here. And now we see Ohio starting to push back against the Floridians yet again. Now I'm making sure they can't attack anymore, and actually begin to encircle Floridian troops deep inside the territory. Floridian troops that are trapped here will try to retreat, but they won't. And now Cascadia is pushing out the Floridians from their territory, which they will do so successfully. And after this encirclement happens, Mexico gets kicked out of Mexico, of Cascadia, I mean. And days later, this encirclement will fall, leading to the North American theater, now being on the favor of the Allies. And with this endeavor, Morocco is going to completely take these islands, and is now going to be taking out more and more of this territory from Florida. Eventually, this area will fall, but we're not going to cover it now. But this will happen. Of course, Burkina Faso is going to help out. If I can select the color, they are going to help out in the war here. They are going to help out in this war. They are going to heavily militarize some of their population so that they can help out in the war. And we can see that it's working, because Florida is being slowly but surely pushed out of Africa. Let's look at Oceania real quick. Oh wait, first, over a decade, this has gotten eliminated. Now some South Asian troops are entering straight into core Tasmanian territory. They will take this island. They will go along and take these two islands. Not being able to take... They'll make small little naval landings here, but that won't be anything too major for now. But they will begin to invade a lot more into the mainland of Australia. And there are kangaroos and tarantula hawk wasps are also here, probably violating the tarantulas here while the fighting is going on around them. But yeah, soon enough, this will look like the front lines, and eventually the South Asian Union will make a major naval landing over here. And this one right here. Which these two naval landings are going to quickly spread out throughout the countryside in hopes of connecting up with their front lines. Which this one will completely connect up with the front line, extending this one out a lot more. And yeah, the war effort is very good with the communists, the Unitarians, and other allies. Their other allies. Let's take a look with North America now. Well, now Venezuelan troops enter into Hispaniola, taking it with relative ease, almost relative ease. And now they begin to take Jamaica and this island over here, and they take this island, and they begin to take out some areas of the Bahamas here, which were originally a country called Caribbean. They will attempt to make a naval landing, but will fail in Florida. They do, however, succeed in a naval landing in Cuba, and begin to take it out with relative ease. What about the Ecuadorians? Alright, they're pushing right into the former country of Central America here. Going along here. Now, their troops are trying not to get too far out. So, some troops will also enter into Mexican territory, following along with the troops in the areas of Central America that is occupied by Florida, but now are occupied by these troops. I don't know how to explain it. Now, the Unitarians allies aren't going to sit back and watch this happen. They are going to start their own invasion. First, with this, this island will get captured by the Cascadians, and they will begin to send some forces down to capture a bunch of this area. Now, cutting them off, the Mexicans off from this area, and will begin to rapidly advance throughout the country, the peninsula. Eventually, the whole peninsula will get captured. And now some troops over here will begin to spread out and make a direct spearhead towards the coast, in which it'll be successful, splitting them into two, allowing for more troops to enter into this area. And now the front line is now, and now this border is now occupied by Cascadia. We'll all see how the peace treaty will be signed, but there's also going to be some more fighting over here to expand the front line in hopes of not getting completely kicked out. Well, what about, so how is Cascadia doing against Florida? Pretty well. They're actually managing to take out some areas of Florida with the help of some of the civilians who don't like their fascist leader anymore, and are beginning to rise up in support of a new democratic government. So how is the people from Ohio doing? Oh, they're gonna be very good at this. As they will begin to take out some areas of Florida, beginning to invade straight into the countryside. Now meeting up with these troops and civilians, helping out the civilians rise up against the government. As Ohio begins to create the biggest front line as possible. Let's take a look at Africa again. Alright, so Burkina Faso and Morocco are working quickly to kick out Florida from Africa. And eventually, the two forces will meet up and completely kick out Florida from Africa. Let's look at Oceania again. Okay, now South Asia is beginning to rapidly advance throughout the Australian desert areas, the outback. They begin to threaten more and more military outposts, and major cities along the way, as they begin to rapidly approach this naval landing that happened. Which we gotta look at what happened with the naval landing. So the naval landing did expand quite a bit. The front line did expand quite a lot, actually, because it's already right here. Because it was right here. As time goes on, both sides will meet up, now cutting them off from this area, and now are rapidly going inland, to hopefully connect this area. Eventually, a lot more troops will come through here, and a lot of troops will be fighting in the front line here to hopefully hopefully to knock out Tasmania out of the war. Which they're actually doing so very swiftly. They're doing so very, very swift. As the invasion is almost done. As the only area left is Tasmania. But eventually, these two naval landings will connect and start to threaten Tasmania's capital. Eventually, the capital will get surrounded on all sides. And now they're right outside the gates. And a few more years will go by. Eventually, the capital will fall. And Australia has fallen. Well, Tasmania. Let's go back over to North America, where the Cascadians are now starting to invade into more areas of Mexico, starting to connect up with the front line, which will happen. And now Mexico is putting a lot of forces outside their capital city to hopefully protect it, which we know will work at first, but eventually their capital will be surrounded, but the forces, they'll fight back still. Even though the capital is under siege, the government is still fighting back. So, still, there will be some areas that will be... The capital is still fighting against the invading forces. As time goes on, the invasion, these forces will go along the Gulf of Mexico, meeting up with the border of Florida over here, and now we see some troops enter right in, capturing over here, and now we see that some troops over here will land right inside of the Yucatan Peninsula and starting to making an invasion right into this area, helping out some civilians here. Eventually, lots of forces will enter in. Eventually, the Yucatan Peninsula will fall over to the occupied forces, allowing for some brutal guerrilla warfare. Speaking of occupying, the Ecuadorians are rapidly advancing throughout Florida, now connecting up with the Venezuelans inside of Florida. And now they will rapidly advance and meet up with the Cascadians. And more Ecuadorian troops are entering throughout the Mexican countryside. And now are beginning to approach more and more throughout the area. Let's see what Cascadia is doing. Oh, now they're going down the western coast of Mexico. We're also expanding this front line out more and more, so that way there's no fighting against this. It gets disconnected. And now we see that this front line has expanded quite a bit. As we see, Cascadia has now established a clear front line, and now some forces over the Ecuadorian forces are now fighting over in the south, are still fighting in the southern area of Mexico. It is very close to meeting up with the main Cascadian forces over here, with some Cascadian forces stationed. Some Cascadian forces stationed in the Floridian areas are gonna go and invade straight into Mexican territory, and is now expanding this front line out quite a bit more. And is now Mexico is very close to capitulating, but not yet, because their capital is still under siege. It's been a few years. Eventually, more and more areas of Mexico will soon fall. With the Cascadians forces getting most of the land occupied, and the rest of Mexico will fall besides the capital. And we'll actually take a look at some more troops entering into Floridian territory, now establishing a clear front and meeting up with these forces right here. We're now starting to get towards the mainland. Now some Ohioan forces are now going down into Florida, but there's some forces holding out here. South Florida will be disconnected from this area. and will begin, and this area will begin to fall over to the occupying forces. As we see this front line continue to grow until a clear frontal border and occupying border is established. And now we'll see that Venezuela makes two major naval landings in Florida are now threatening the capital city, which they will get right outside the gates here. And now Cascadian troops meet up with them and now are invading straight down, meeting up with these forces and surrounding naval dominance on the capital. And now the capital is under siege. And eventually Cascadia will get into the capital city of Mexico. And the final days of the war, Florida will fall. Now let's take a look at the peace deal. I'm just gonna go through here. Actually, wait, what am I doing? I can just do this and then woo. Alright, let me make sure I didn't get anything else. Whoa. Boom. 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 Alright. There we go. Now it's time to draw up new borders. Also, we can get rid... Really? Really? And now we can just get rid of these again. And now, there's no more non-aggression pass because this is now gone. Also, these two alliances will fall. The fascist bloc will fall. So we can see that the fascist bloc has fallen yet again. So yeah, the fascist bloc has fallen for the third time in a row. They appeared 3 times and they failed 3 times. So what about the communists? Well, eventually every communist nation will decide to give up communism. That includes Tanzania, Egypt, and finally the Russians. Soon enough, Russia might decide to join Europe Unitaria soon. And now we can decide, now we can get rid of these right here, which we'll just do that right there. And now let's take a look at the major peace deal that will be drawn up. So, starting off with the... Really? Seriously? Anyway, all of this area goes back to the peach country. It's very simple. This was taken from them. Now these guys will keep their claims because they helped them, because they wanted to not let them fall to the Tasmanian rule and get exterminated as a whole race of human beings from a different race, which is Tasmanians. these guys are like Antarcticans, which is a race in this timeline, which is an ethnic group and racial group here. But now, what about their former area here? Well, it's actually gonna get divided up. If I can select the right color. God, so annoying. It'll be divided up between this area here. So these areas will fall back over. This area will be given to South Asia. Okay, if I can select the flippin' right color. Jeez, this area goes over to this country here, and so this part of the island. What about the mainland of Australia? First off, some major changes will happen with this area. First off, some provinces will be taken away by South Asia. Some bordering provinces will be taken. There'll be some major areas taken away. There will be a lot of major territories taken away from the Tasmanians. Now, what about the rest of this? Well, first off, alright. Guess it's time we get the bluish color back. I think it's kind of like this color. Yep, here it is. So New Zealand has returned, not as its true color, but it's close enough. It's as close as I can get it. But New Zealand is back. They have appeared once again. Just a different color because I couldn't find the original color. Because it's already gone. But still though, the main government has returned to its rightful place. Even though they're the same race, the government was in exile. But where was they at? Where were they exiled to? I'm glad you asked. They were actually in South Asia. They did go to India when India was still a country. So they were in South Asia now, after it formed, and they were just waiting for a prime opportunity to get back for India. For South Asia, for this area to taken back to them. But what about the rest of Australia? Well, I'm glad you asked. There will be some new countries formed out of this. There'll be this darker green country along the coast here, which will take some major territory away from Tasmania. There'll be lots of new countries. So, and by the way, here are the provinces, of course. You have to know what the provinces look like to see the division of the country. And, there'll also be kind of darker greenish color. I'm not going to really use that. I think a yellowish country would do nicely. So there will be a yellowish kind of country here. So this country will be formed out of these provinces. And now, time for another country. This one will be like a reddish kind of country. So this one will be right here, also along here. This one will be pretty significant because this area will become an independent nation with these specific provinces, and that's what's left for the Tasmanian country. So it's gonna be very simple here if I can get the right color. So this area will get divided up between these two countries. So we'll see how the division will look. So the division will look pretty much like this. And we can look at the provinces. We can see what the provinces will look like for their specific countries. If I can stop getting the wrong color. God. Can I not get with the... Hey. You know, like, get a good... Now I'm gonna have to change their color again. Okay, they are a purplish nation here. I'm just gonna change their color to this purple. No, not that purple. How about a brighter purple? That looks good enough. I'll change their color here. Hold on. I gotta remember where their capital is. Gotta remember this. It's right there. Alright, I'm just gonna fix this up real quick. I had to change the color of Burkina Faso again. I'm pretty sure I had to change this before. Okay, remember where it is. I guess I can just do this. Just get the capital real quick. Get a capital real quick. Put their capital back where it was. Quickly get the new color. I guess this color is kind of real similar. But it's not the same color. It's not the same color I'm probably thinking about. Anyway, let's just get their country form. Let's just get their recoloring. Now it's the same government. I just couldn't get the color to get the provinces out to show what they got from the war, which Mauritania has fallen a while ago. So Mauritania is kind of non-existent, so they can't be brought back. Most of the population was unfortunately eradicated by Florida. If you know, you should know. But I'm not gonna say it because that might get this video taken down, and I don't want that. So yeah, here's what the division of the former area of Mauritania will look like. So what about the division for what about the partition for Mexico and Florida? Well, here, I'll show you. So, unfortunately, the people of, oh, really? Bruh. It's orange. Come on, man. Why does that keep happening? Stop it. Now I have to get a new color. Again. God. Why is it so hard to do? Fine. Hold on. Hold on, everyone. This always has to happen, doesn't it? Not again. Stop. Stop it. Really? Seriously? You're doing this to me again, aren't you? Anyway, let's just get this over with. I don't know why this keeps happening to me. Why does this keep happening to the map? Why is this not like to work? I knew this video was gonna be long, but not this long. I should have known this would happen. Now I have to fix up the borders again before we actually get the division for done. Hell, just keep. This will take a while. Just keep in mind this video is still running. Ugh. Gonna have to get this part. Gonna have to do this now. Sorry about this. Alright, this is just gonna take a while. Actually, it's not taking that long now. But the treaty will take a while to finish up. Sorry about that, everyone. Oh, now this color. Oh, wait, that's still the same. Alright. Here's what Ecuador will take from Florida over here. They'll take these two provinces. They'll also take... Sorry. Just annoying things. They'll take... Really? They'll take a couple They'll take 4 more provinces from Mexico here. So, what about, Venezuela? Okay, really? Again? Bruh. Do I have to change the color again? Sorry about that, everyone. I just had to do something there. Alright, so only a little bit of this area will be taken by Venezuela, because they don't want to punish them too severely, but they have to. God. Can I, like... At least this is the same color. I might have to change it pretty soon. Alright, so Florida's just gonna lose a bit of... They're not gonna lose too much land, but they will lose a lot of land. Specifically these areas, which will go over to the... Which this is what Ohio will get. As for Cascadia area territory, Can I please get the right color? For once. Gosh darn lifetime. What is this? Stop it. Do I have to change this color? God. Sorry again about that. It just does not want to do what I want it to do. Anyway, they're not going to be punished too severely. Cascadia will take some territory away, but not a lot of territory. They will take a province here, and they will take some provinces along the border, avoiding the capital area because they don't want to punish them too severely. As you can see, there's going to be a border here still, but it's not going to be with this area. Because there's going to be a new country there. And here's the other provinces. Now, where's the new countries? Florida will still be able to keep this area because that's going to be theirs forever. But you're going to see an old familiar face. I'm going to make it like a lighter, like, blue color here. Kind of. Maybe like, more of a this color. This is going to be this Yucatan country. Yes, this country will be carved out of both of them. Right here. This one, they will also take a bit of land over here. But for the most part, this country will be in the areas of Latin America. And the provinces will look like this. I'm just going to follow along with the border here first, because that's where the provinces are. They follow along with their respective border of the country. So there's that province. There's there's one province here, one here, another one here, another one here, and two right here. Now what about a country right here? There's actually gonna be a new country. This one I'll dub Texas. This is gonna be the Texan country of our scenario. This will be like a buffer between the two original countries here, the two countries that occupied it. And let's get the border here. So let's get the provinces in place. And I'll see you guys after. Alright, that's all of that. There's the peace deal, as you can see. Goodbye. That's all of that. Now let's move over to the moon map, so we can tell what's happening with the moon. So of course, they are going to expand quite a bit. They are going to expand quite a bit around here, around the moon. Their research is very important to them, because they're studying the moon. So they're going to go along here, eventually reach to this point here. As for Mesopotamia, they're going to do much of the same, going along here, as well as getting some more areas to work with. God. To work with here. So the research areas will look like that. And as for... yeah, you can't really see that very well. And as for Quebec, the Quebec Newfoundland Union, their research areas will be mostly just focusing on the middle of the moon, while also making sure they can connect up with others. But for now, they're focusing more on this area of their research areas. As for Korea, they will expand their research areas quite a bit further. Now reaching up to here for this area. This area is now theirs, and they'll also expand quite a bit over to here. And they'll also expand quite a bit to here. Actually, they'll expand quite a bit up to there too. And that's it for that. I hope you guys enjoyed, and see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.